YouTube! So today I'm having a look at the Behringer Bass DI-21, which I believe is a copy or a clone of a Sansamp something 21. I've heard good things about these. Apparently these are, my pal Scott said he always had one of these on his pedal board because it kind of doubles up as a, well, it is sort of a DI box. I did a review of the blue one, the guitar one, last week. Yeah, so a similar shaped box. Basically today I'm using my Aria Pro 2 TSB, which is from 1983 probably. Most of my guitars seem to be from 1983. I've recently just put the correct pickups in this. I got this as part of a deal where I had to take the pickups out put them in a Westtone Thunder, which I now own as well, so I do actually have the actual original pickups in my Westtone Thunder. And then I put just a Washburn pickup from the late 80s with like an EMG smooth cover on it. And I had a spare set of the original DiMarzio copied Gotoh ones, which are in, someone mentioned the other day, they're kind of all 80s Japanese basses seem to have the same pickups. The ones I took out, although they had smooth covers on them, I'm not really sure they were any different. They looked absolutely identical on the back, like with the pole pieces with the two magnets on either side and stuff. It's kind of, so I'm not sure it made any difference, but it looks more the part. Yeah, playing through the Marshall B150. Not really one for bass pedals. I do use a little bit of drive, a wee bit of fuzz in the Sabbath band just to make it a bit more broken sounding, but generally a bit of P bass is kind of just the best. It's like, just got a P bass. This is a slightly shorter scale, it's a 32 inch, doesn't really make that much difference, just makes it a bit easier to play. So try turn it on, see what happens, and try and fiddle about with it. So tone up full. Turn the volume down a touch, just so I'm not maxing out on that on the mic. Let's see what happens if you turn it on. So I've not actually turned any of the. I've turned ground lift off because that's for the DI function. So the idea with the DI would be that you basically just run that straight into the PA, and you've got like an EQ and stuff for it. So I'm just going to turn it on, even though I've not touched anything, and whether it's doing anything at all. A wee bit. Blend. Oh. If you turn the blend off, it probably doesn't do anything. Oh, it does. The level works if I turn the blend the other way. Okay, not really sure what the blend does. I'll just put it at 12 o'clock. Put everything at 12 o'clock here. See what happens. So off. On, off. Bit more drive on it. Well, that's actually already quite like it. Turn the treble all the way up. Is it giving it quite a nice sort of overdriven-y, almost guitar-y sound there? Ramp the drive up to full. Oh, I quite like. I may have to get one of these. This will be good for my Sabbath. Turn the tone down a bit. It's quite good, isn't it? Already. But unlike if you just use like a distortion pedal, I've tried using these fuzz pedals with the bass and stuff like that, you tend to lose all the low end and you just end up with a really trebly bass sound. That's much more. What does the blend do there? Alright, the blend. Even that's too just, this is, these aren't expensive, I'm going to get one I think. presence do, which I'm trying to drive down a bit, just make it a bit less extreme, but I'm quite liking that. What this is actually sounding like to me is like an active pickup system, which kind of what it is, I think. Really, you're putting an active EQ onto your bass. Using this, this is a much cheaper option than trying to put like if you wanted to add a jazz bass pickup or something, you could just use this instead. Definitely does more of the trebly stuff. No presence. No Led Zeppelin second last album for me. More drive. The drive seems to be running off the presence. I think maybe that's what the drive's doing. It's kind of not affecting the lower frequencies and only affecting the higher frequencies. So if you take away the higher frequencies, there's no drive. Or if I put this back in again, you can hear the drive come back in. No, very interesting. I'm trying to treble all the way down, the bass all the way up, just because that's one of the things you can do with it. We're now getting into EBO territory, I think. You just need less note. So basically there's something in the wall rattling again. But ideally, you wouldn't have a room that had this much stuff on it that would vibrate when you played too bassy. But kill that a little bit. I'll kill. Rattling. Something is. I think that, well, this pedal obviously is going to work with any EQ. If you have a bass like this, you turn the tone completely off, you're taking away so many of the frequencies, the pedal's got less to work with. So you're probably better putting the full frequencies, the tone up full, into the pedal and then dealing with it. Which you can obviously do. That's with no treble on. I'd go for a wee bit of a criticism of it. You can't really see on the knobs, you can't see it there, but I can't see it from here. It's not really a wee white spot would be nice on the knob so you know where it's actually sitting, because I can tell you just now that's either at 0 or at 1 o'clock. I can see that it's facing that way, but I couldn't tell you which way around it is. So, and something like that, you can say, that's at either 3 or 9 o'clock, but I can't see which is which. Half. I'm gonna mess about with the drive. I mean, this thing is brilliant though. I'm going to have to get one, I think, is the answer to that. Also like the idea of it being a DI box as well. I mean, we did a gig, which I've still not put up. I need to ask the rest of the band. I'm sure they'll be fine when we put it up. Playing with the After the End Sabbath band, just using the house bass amp. Something like this would just give me that little bit more control over something that's actually at my feet, and something that I know what all the knobs are, as opposed to just going up. You're right, I'm going to try to adjust things. So one of the problems I had with that gig was a Behringer. In fact, it's a Behringer as well. The Behringer bass amp head, but the compressor was on, the limiter was on, so I was like, I'm kind of, Sabbath stuff needs to be a bit more dynamic, so it was basically just limiting out the whole time, and I couldn't shit on top of it. I couldn't, between songs I was like trying to find the thing that just said limit or turn it off, and I couldn't find it. That wouldn't help with this because that would still be on. So basically I think what I'm going to have to learn is lesson learned from that gig. If I'm using someone else's amp or something like that, find the compressor thing and find that so I know which knob it is to turn if I'm having a problem with it. I just found myself very much we're playing like a lot of stuff, like something like Children of the Grave. I'm not the right, this is the wrong bass for it, but you know, like sort of, I want to be able to start off quiet and build it up by hitting it harder, whereas if you've got the limiter that was on it was basically whatever I played, it was just the same, and if I absolutely thumped it, it was just stayed at the same volume, which was annoying. But I mean, it's probably better for a lot of music and for control, but not if that's what you're actually trying to do, which is what I was actually trying to do. Turn it off again. It sounds more expensive when it's on, more produced. I like it a lot. But the drives are the drive's really useful, which I wasn't really expected to be. It's also quite subtle. Like when you've got it up full bung, it's like, yeah, it's distorted. Whereas a lot of distortion pedals, it's like once you get to half or something like that, that's kind of as distorted as you'd want it. Once you go beyond that, it doesn't really get any more distorted. This has, when you're at full, that's kind of it. So if you throttle back to 9, it makes a huge difference, which doesn't make a lot of difference in, you know, even something like a Rat pedal or any sort of pedal like that, where it's like between maximum and 90%, not that much difference. Big difference between like 50 and 40%. That's kind of where this has happened. So this kind of only goes to 50%. It doesn't. Yeah. I'm really I'm liking this. I think one of the reasons I'm actually enjoying playing about with this pedal much more than I do with guitar pedals is when you've only got one pickup. I suppose I could maybe argue that with a one pickup guitar like that, but P basses, they're all, I don't want to say they're all the same, but they just seem to, you get, a P bass seems to be a P bass and it's either just better or not as good. They don't generally tend to sound that different. This type of pickup is a split humbucker thing where you get two, you know, each basically it's two pickups. They only do 2 strings each, and then you put them together and see. So it is hum cancelling. So it's humbucking. So it is a humbucking pickup, sort of. But which sound fantastic, but maybe not that super varied. this I think this has got some fun going on. This is also a fantastic fun to play bass. Whoever plays bass up there. Actually buzzing a little bit. Got the action quite low on this. And also I don't really play with the popping and slapping thing, but this would be... I'm sure this would really give you some... Turn it off again, make sure. Yeah, really, I mean, really does. Doesn't play bass. Bass is amazing fun to play. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to get one of these. I think they're only, I'm not putting myself. I think they're only like 20 quid or 20 something quid, maybe 30 quid, 30 quid, something like that. It doesn't seem like an awful lot for the amount of control it's giving me, and it's doing lots of things that I like, and it just seems to sound better when it's on. Yeah, so I'm very impressed with this. It's funny, the blue one, the guitar one, didn't work so well with the valve amps as it did with the solid statey ones. This could be a similar thing. I don't know, that's well, it's a valve state, so it does have a valve. It's a valve state, so it's got a valve, so you got a preamp blend in it, but it's not a valve amp. I don't think I've ever actually owned a fully valve bass amp. It sounds like a record or something. Yeah, so love it. I'm going to have to get one. Partly because if this had been 150 quid, maybe I would still said it was amazing, but the fact that it's so cheap, it's not really an option to not get one, I don't think. It's like, well, at that price, well, fuck it, just buy one. I don't know, I'm talking about, 20, 30 quid new, so second hand, but I don't know if it's something that anyone would ever, maybe if someone the person that sells one of these is the person who buys the Sans amp, which was, I think, this is just a total copy of, I think. It's just a circuit, I suppose, so you can just copy the circuit and it's the same. There's elements of truth to that. I have noticed that quite a lot of the cheaper ones, like this wee Mosky Rat pedal, which I need to start using again. The input jacks are a bit shit. They're kind of, the actually my pal Scott's Behringer fuzz that I gave him, it's kind of that as well. It's like they're just cheaper sockets, so it doesn't click in quite the same way, and they sort of tend to fall out a bit. These sort of things, I suppose, is the problem with something like a Behringer. I mean, the fact it's in a plastic case, you could argue is a bit cheaper and not as good, but to be honest, I'm pretty sure that changing output sockets, if they did go, not that there's anything wrong with the ones in this, it's probably never not been used that much, still got a sticker on the side and it's not covered in blood and sweat, none of the things are, none of the text's worn off or any scratches, so I'm going for it's probably not been used very much. But I would get myself so something, since I've not been at school, I don't even know if you still get Tipex, but Tipex used to be one of the main tools for doing anything. We blob a Tipex on the tip of each of those knobs would just make it so you can actually see looking at it. I mean, I'm looking at it in daylight. Well, got the curtains closed so you can see me, but it's on a dark stage. You're not seeing what any of those knobs are looking like. Whereas if you even glow in the dark paint might be even cool. A wee bit of glow in the dark, just a wee dip on the end would be fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, so I think one of these, and even using it in the Sabbath band, yeah, totally. But I'm thinking more just see if I maybe had it sitting there, it would just give me a little bit more control. I know there is an EQ and stuff on the bass, but which would probably be. This is just dead easy to adjust on the fly. Yeah, I think I might get one. Also, I think I'm in the studio on Sunday with a band to play guitar in. I think I'm going to take this bass in and maybe see if the bass player wants a shot of it, because he plays an Epiphone EBO, and I'm sorry, the Epiphone EBOs are not good. They're just not good. He was adamant that it's like, oh no, it doesn't really matter which bass you play. I've tried £1,000 basses. This one's just as good. And it's like, there's no treble in it. Maybe something like this would maybe force some treble into it, but it's just a woolly mess basically. So I'm thinking something like this would just, especially if you're recording, you can EQ this to sound like an EBO, so you get a woolly mess and you can't hear any notes if you want, but you've got the option to actually have notes rather than just being wum 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 wum. You know, you can actually go instead of wum 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 wum. Rock on. Recommended. I'm going to buy one. I've never tried anything like this for a bass before, so there might be better versions of this available. Other companies might make them and stuff, but this one, I know it's cheap, so I'm just going to end up buying one. Or I'm actually going to go straight on eBay just now and see if I can pick one up second hand. Well, it's one of those things, if something's cost 25 quid new, then is it really worthwhile buying it for 20 quid second hand? And it's like, probably not, because then you don't know whether someone spilt beer in it, or as you said, the output jacks are a little bit worn or something, or the switches have been used a bit. It's like, you'd better, if it's a tenner including postage second hand, I'd maybe buy a second hand one, but I don't know, if it's a tenner, then how can I not buy it? It's just silly. I would even be tempted. Well, no, you couldn't really do that. Well, I'm just going by the fact that I know that the blue one's a battery eater, because I had one years ago, so it's probably a bit of a battery eater. I was thinking, I could just put that in a bass. It's like you get your bass active circuit. I mean, you do get proper active pickups, like EMGs are sometimes active, but a lot of especially the 80s ones, it's not active pickups, it's basically this pickup, but it's got a circuit board in it. I've actually got one sitting there that doesn't work. It's got a circuit board in it, which gives you like an active treble and bass control, which is probably quite an expensive thing. If it doesn't be 20 quid, you just need to take that out, change the switch from a push button switch into a clicky switch, and just recess that in below the scratch plate, so you've got 6 knobs, and a DI output on it as well. Yeah, win, win, win. Rock on.